Okay, part 2 on how does my movement therapy help injured and aging movers. Well, here's part 2. So part 1 was we stop trying to fix the injury, like just leave it alone, work on the rest of you. Part 2 is going to be that I help people change their mind about their injuries, right? Pain and inability to move the way you want to move can really hurt here and here. And what I do is help people. I know this is going to sound strange, and not everyone embraces it, especially not right off the bat, but I help people to fall in love with their injuries. It wasn't until I fell in love with my hips that I started to get my life back, right? I was an injured mover. I had arthritic hips, and I was too young for hip replacements, and I didn't want hip replacements at the time. Everything out there on the internet world was like, oh, it's not going to be good when I have my hips replaced. So, the doctors all told me, well, you can't do any more damage to your hips, so do what you can do every day. And because I said, well, can I still do this? Can I still do that? While I'm waiting for hip replacements, they were like, you can't do anything worse to your hips than where they're at right now. They have to be replaced. So if you can do stuff, do stuff. And from there, that's how I made up AgeDEFY. I made up a therapy practice to keep me strong and agile and mobile as I became more arthritic on a daily basis. But you ask anybody that knew me during that time, I stayed in pain for 4 or 5 years before I had both hips replaced. And you ask anybody that knew me, that was my message in all my classes. I owned studios in Denver at the time, and I would tell everyone, I'm injured, but I'm still got this. I'm gonna still live my life. And it wasn't easy. And there was a lot of days that I just wanted to skip my workouts, but it didn't. I had to show up. Thank goodness I had students to show up for, so I had a little extra drive than most. But you gotta start showing up for yourself. And so I hope you start learning how to accept and fall in love with your injury. And then I help you to, like if you go back to part 1, work on the rest of your body. And when you start to feel powerful in the rest of your body, your pain doesn't feel as painful here and here, okay? It's still there physically. It's still there physically. We all have pain. We all have pain. There's not a single human, especially over the age of 40, and I'm even gonna say it today, especially over the age of 30, that is not dealing with pain and stiffness in their body, including myself. But I work it out every day with movement therapy. So, I think teaching people how to stop poking at their injuries, teaching people how to fall in love with the ability of their injured body can do. So if you can't move anything but your hands, move your hands. If your hips are broken, get your shoulders and your spine strong, move your ribs. Empower your feet, increase your lymphatic health. There's so many things you can do, and when you do those things, you feel like you're making improvement. And when you're making improvement, you start to feel stronger, not just in the physical body, but in the mind and the emotional body as well. And that's how movement therapy helps injured and aging movers. I give people their power back. I do that. The movement does that. But it's not a magic trick. Everyone that has felt the magic of my movement therapy are people who dedicated themselves to it. They do the homework. They show up for the live classes. They do the online programs. They listen to the coaching. They stick around for coaching. It's work to be healthy, especially as an injured mover. So you can be injured and cry about it, or you can be injured and freaking live. And that's why my movement therapy practice, AgeDEFY, is so important for injured and aging movers. That's how it helps. I hope this has been good for you. Good luck on your paper.